So this officer's voicemail. Um, I found out about 3 months later, whenever we went to court, that was following that very incriminating voicemail. Um, had the police charged her at that time with harassment and threats against me for the lies she told about Josh, the unfounded truths, that was reason enough to arrest her. Which I went to the police and said, listen, she's making these false accusations, these unfounded truths. I said, if this officer is saying these things, then they're got to be true. So here's my problem. Here's what I didn't know at the time of this. Um, let's just say when she went to take the stand, when I called her as a witness to the trial that eventually had to come about, because when I asked her nicely to do things so many times, she just puts no, 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 no until it becomes a big thing. So we had to take a trial for this. This is how important little details matter, because all along I've always said I'm going to be here for Josh, and she has never liked it. So she'd always say no to frustrate me, to get me to get angry, to do something, and this is what she's always been doing. That's always been her motto. Had her on the stand, or called her to be on the stand, and very fascinating piece of information happened. Her Judge Rubenstein, who she worked for, told her to take the stand. She sat down. Now, come on, fly. Normal people would get sworn in to testify. He did not make her raise her right hand and repeat after him, "You swear to tell the truth," or affirm the following. I think that's what they do now. "You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, to help you God." So they make you put your hand on the Bible, and somebody swears you in, and you go through. You take that initiative to attest to the following, which most people, that's what happens. Her Judge Rubenstein, instead of administering the oath to swear to tell the truth, what he said was, take a seat, you're still under oath. So, I don't know why this is bothering me now, so many years later, but it gave me insight then that she's always under oath. She's been under oath this whole entire time. Everything that she has told Bucks County, the false things about me since 2007 or 3, but then since, she was always telling the government the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. When she was telling her co-workers that needed to defend Josh, that of the person that she has made me out to be, she was always telling them the truth. That's the way they heard it. They always heard her say the truth, because she's always under oath, even talking to them in the courtroom. Out of the courtroom, she's a court officer. She's an officer of the law. She's always under oath. That's what Judge Rubenstein told me by letting her just sit down. They did not swear her in. She did not have the Bible down. She did not swear to tell the truth. She did not answer the questions. There was no question asked. She sat down and continued her role as an officer of the court to then tell the truth. That she didn't have to swear on the Bible because of her credentials allowed her, a court officer, to sit down and not have to repeat the same thing that normal people would have to repeat, because not normal people are sitting swearing in. Court officers are not used to swearing in to do trials, so they're always under oath. Fun fact. So this whole time of me trying to get help for my son, I was fighting a system with the mother who works for the court system to never have anything fair happen for Josh. All the fighting for me that was for Josh, I've been terminated every step of the way for 20 years, 24, 23 and a half years or whatnot. Everything that Josh needed help for was always terminated by an officer of the court, a court officer. Whenever they were brought to be evidence to support what I'm saying, they habitually said no, because she is an officer of the court. So whatever she has said has been taken as the Bible, as the truth. They never did their due diligence. But importantly, the fact that Judge Rubenstein acknowledged that she had special privilege. She took the stand as a court officer. She didn't have to reinstate as a mother. She just had to say it as an officer. An officer of the court was testified, not a mother. So that's kind of offensive. Like, for me to have her sworn in as a court officer, not as the mother who was there to testify on behalf of her son, who was called. See, the court reporter's name was called to the stand, not the court officer. So they had the court officer on the stand. They didn't have the mother, because the mother should have been sworn in separately, not the court officer. You see, this is why I don't like these little games with Bucks County, thinking that I'm so dumb that I wouldn't understand these things. But yes, there was no objection by anybody, not even myself. She should have been sworn in as the defendant in the claim of child abuse, needing the county's help and me helping my son. Once more, bringing up all the child abuse things that were a part of, and nothing being done in open court, in custody court, where I'm suing her for these custody matters of abuse that the county has not even, and I took them, it took me 3 days to go through the abuses. Having her on the stand for 3 days within 3 months, because they made me play this long game instead of scheduling the next day. They played games with Josh's custody, even in court. So the court's covering up for her, and they have sympathized with her. They've never sympathized with Joshua. Joshua's civil rights were violated. Even in open court, I said the problems that were here, and I talked about them, and there was no, other than cutting me out of Josh's life, he reduced my custody and gave me every other weekend, after 3 days a week, going down to every other week. Every other weekend. I went from having my son 3 days a week for over 3 or 4 years, and the judge she works for gave me every other weekend. Another slap in the face. Like, Josh They took me out of his life because all the stuff that I had to go for their help for, they took him out. They thought it was befitting of every other weekend father after being there for my son and fighting to even get to 3 days a week years before. It was best in the best interest of the child to reduce my custody from 3 days every week for months, for years, down to every other weekend. That is what's in the Commonwealth's best interest, was to give the mother what her ask was. Conflict of interest, having her judge hear our case. Having a court officer swear in instead of a mom. The tactical things about what she had said inside of her voicemail. The telling signs of which direction she's going in, where her motives and where she sees her own fight and battle. Um, you know, that's the best she could come up with, threatening me in court for court, were lies based on what she had founded were her lies. So she was going to arm herself with her own polluted lies that could be easily found out, is what she was arming herself with. She was arming herself with lies. Not even truth. She had to plant lies to make it sound good, so when she went into court to fight me, that was coming, that was in the works, that was reason why she sent the voicemail in the first place. She had to plant something so she could use something in court to come. She's telling me this in this voicemail. Love it. She's telling me she's setting me up using bad information to use in front of her judge. She's literally telling me this. She's telling me I'm going to lose custody. I'm not going to win. Josh isn't going to win. This isn't about us. This is about the best welfare of the child. It became a pissing match of who could lie the most to cheat the most within the system they work for to finally get what they want. Congratulations. This was in the best interest. This is what Pennsylvania taxpayers paid for. His salary to uphold the law of the county, of the state, of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, to give this woman who tried killing her own son, the child. Bravo. Congratulations. You should be proud. Should the taxpayers of Commonwealth ever find out that the Bucks County used taxpayers' money to fight a battle that they should never have been involved in, I don't think they'd be upset. I don't think anybody in the world would be upset the fact that the judge voluntarily put himself in conflict of interest within the county that's been doing the same thing for so long. That's what they're hoping. They were always never hoping to get caught. But here's the thing with the law. Of all the catching I've done with her and with the manipulating and the lies and things that, like the voicemail like this tells a story, that the fact that I have all of this proof, but like I was trying to say before in the connection, I believe that with the knee on the neck, couldn't breathe and dies, with the people who were shot, Josh is just in the same situation as those people are, but at least that was seen, that was caught on video, or that was those things with the terrible, God forbid, these terrible things that happen to these other people because of police officers. This woman is a police officer who works for the Commonwealth, who gets paid throughout the state to uphold the law, who's always under oath, lies about the information, pollutes it, then she needs them to help squash me because I know too much about what's going on. They use their powers to fight against me, and then I come out in the end saying, you lied. Gotcha. Here's how I gotcha. So I set the videos out to say that, listen, this is, you have no more moves. You've lied about the whole thing, and here's my commentating on what's happened. So thank you. But like all those other cases, I need a lawyer that would be able to say, you know, I gave them all the information to use and say that I want to press charges against her. I would like to turn state's evidence to tell you that this woman tried killing my son. I've tried emailing them. I tried telling them. They want a public battle. They want a public fight. I gave them all the information that tells them what she did. So now the only way that you can do that is like with all of those other lawsuits that were happening for all those other people and unfortunately died by the hands of the law enforcement, because she's a law officer and his TBI tells a different story, and the way that she even handled it and what's important and what's going on, the fact that the lies that start from the beginning that come in with having to do with child custody support, medical things that were lied about. There's a continual habitual lie after lie patterns, a catch me if you can kind of attitude that I figured out at some point about 10 years ago after I saw the movie about Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio. I even wrote it in my diary that this felt like a catch me if you can sort of thing. And it wasn't until I saw the movie, I was like, wait a minute, this is what I've been going through. Like every truth that I have documented about and she's lied about, this has always been that sort of cat and mouse thing. Like I caught her with this, and that fact didn't matter because she was covered under the county's protection. But now that I've caught all of it, all of hers, then the county's, it doesn't become something until there's a public outcry. And then if people find out that an officer of law tried killing her child and then getting away with it and then lying to the people that she works for, they're never going to turn her, they can never turn against her because they've given her full extension, full use of the law to try to come at me for all of these years. And that's why I'm making videos. Because I don't have the power to go up against, to hire a lawyer, to go up against it and sue them for protecting a woman who tried committing murder. So, just like all the cops who have had to be on trial for murder for these citizens, she should be tried in the same sort of fashion. But no one's ever going to say anything because the county whose legislative block of the county of Pennsylvania in Bucks County, the legislative branch of that has always protected her. So they're never going to not protect her until somebody says something. And that's why I make the videos. It's proof that she took advantage of the law by utilizing not protecting him, by not calling 911, by medically suppressing his mental issues, his physical issues, by lying about them, just to protect herself. She knew that she had to protect herself. And then when Bucks County found out she needed protection, they all came after me for it. So when I've been telling them since 2007, which is all documented in Harrisburg, to have the proof that I called, that a phone call was made asking for their help, and they said no, this voicemail that I've depicted is reasons like this that I called in the first place in 2007. This was nothing new. I have no one else to call. I had no one else to call. They forced themselves to take her side and never Josh's side. And that's why nothing has ever happened for this, because it's protecting her and not him. If her protected him from the beginning, then I wouldn't be in this situation now. Josh could have been helped in 2007 and this would have been a null point, but they wanted to play a game. She started the game when she couldn't get me to physically assault her for all the things that she has done, that she tried doing to get me to do that. She got their help, and they didn't do their due diligence, and that's their actual job. Their job is to, you know, uh, find criminals and prosecute them to the full extent of the law based on information, little to no information. So when I'm making this video because I was told by a Bucks County detective real recently that there's no child abuse there. So I have him on the record by saying that. So what I'm saying here today is I have the official conversation recorded by me and a Bucks County detective saying that there is no child abuse here, and I have proved them wrong. I have them on the record saying there's no child abuse here. Everything is not founded based on all of the information that we have, and I saying, well, the information you have is wrong and it's not been proven and you will not do your job to investigate. And I am telling you, I'm giving you the proof. Here's where she said that she did this. He fell off a one step, which is physically in physics impossible. Give them the proof and they say, sorry, we don't find any kind of abuse here because it doesn't say child abuse on there. Well, I called them back with that voicemail that I put a video on not too long ago. It said about Bucks County and hoping that they would take this proof and say, okay, she lied. Here's the proof that she lied. And here's a proof. I'm giving the detectives a proof that she lied. And they're saying, no, we're not going to still investigate, even though, you know, one step cannot prove the force of G-force to be 100 G's of force. That had to be a lot higher than one step. Here's your proof. And they say, we don't care. We're not going to protect the child. We're going to protect the mother. And this is them saying the same thing they've been saying since 2007. And all of these years, we're going to protect the mother. We're not going to protect the son. When I asked chief of police to go get my son tested, let's look at the crime scene. They said, we're not going to do that. When I asked them to look into his medical records and all of the abuse that happened within there, all the FDIA, they said, we don't care about that. They don't care about any of the lies. They don't care about the truth, and that's their position. So as a taxpayer, as a father, I'm offended the fact that nobody knows the pain that my son has had to go through. He doesn't even know. Do I want to make a big deal of it? No. Have I been telling the proper authorities in conjunction to the law and the laws of the Commonwealth at the time and after the time? Yeah. Do I have proof? Yeah. I have proof. Harrisburg is my proof. They have the proof. They can prove Bucks County that I called in 2007 and beyond. Bucks County said, no, we're going to play a game. We're not going to consider anything that I say. And they have decided to stay in line protecting the mother this whole time instead of protecting my son. My son, who's 24 physically, but mentally, according to the doctors, he's 6 years younger. So he's 24 minus 4, you do the math. He's 19. Doesn't matter. My son, who's had a labeled disability since 2008 by CHOP, that told that he has ADHD, which is a defined disability, done illegally and untruthfully, because the TBI never came up in the results, and she didn't bring me so I could tell my side. She purposely forged those test results, which is the epitome of FDIA. She forged herself to get in. She forged the lies in there. She didn't tell the doctor about the TBIs. His 2 incidences, she lied about his seasonal allergies. He was really allergic to her dog and Peckdander. She lied under false pretense to all of us, even to CHOP. manipulated an outcome that was not even true. It was based on her own reality, and the reality is that he had a TBI, and she can't say that he has ADHD when the symptoms of the TBI mask that. She tells the doctor lies and doesn't say that he had any of the TBIs. That never made it into the factor because one of the biggest reoccurring factor when the doctor asked, does he have ever had a traumatic brain injury and he hits the head, he had two documented, which I posted about. None of those answers come up in his CHOP report, so I shouldn't really post his CHOP report because the things that I'm saying out loud are undocumented, and the only one who knows about them is me because I'm the one who only did the research. So when the doctor at the CHOP, Dr. Anna Phillips, asks her point blank, is your father in his life? She says no, she's a single parent. And I'm all of these problems, but it's really her that's the problem. So she tells the doctor it's really me giving the problems, but it's really her, and I have the proof. And she doesn't tell the truth. She changes the truth. She manipulates the truth. She tells the doctor something different. And that's my fault. That is all my fault. It's my fault that she doesn't know the truth. It's me that's speaking the truth. And I'm sorry, I don't really know how to handle somebody who's this insane. When they go and tell doctors lies, they tell the officials lies. She's always under oath, and she lies in the truth. She lies to them. That's not my fault. My fault is to defend my son. So all of these smoke and mirrors, all these different things that they use to try to defend her, to make me look at like I'm some kind of jerk, which I'm not with it. But I'm going to love my son no matter what. But all these smoke and mirrors, all these different angles of taking him away and putting him in and taking me out, putting me in and taking me out. All these years, like even 2018, I went back for custody for him because he wanted to see me, and then I see him for a minute, and then it's gone and it's done. I'm in his life. I'm out of his life legally. Like all of these things are not me. These are all in response to her because this is how mentally ill she is. When she said these voicemails, when I have more dictated on in real time in the journal that I've kept about this. So when you expect the law, when I go into court, for them to tell me that this is fair, and the whole process is rigged against me, I just go with it. Like, what are you gonna do? They took him away from me. Okay. She took him away from me. Okay. This is the best interest of the child. Okay. Hand to God. Like I don't. I have more proof of the good that I've done in his life by all the videos and all the pictures I've have on Facebook and Instagram of him, and more on Facebook on my account, and his account, and his private account that I've kept for him. I keep these accounts for that reason, so that he could see the documentation throughout my life, through his life with me on Facebook. When it was something, all these things happened as Facebook began, as Google began. There was no Google searching back when this happened in 2007. There was no, I couldn't put this on YouTube because YouTube was just starting and didn't know about it. I was on MySpace at the time. I was on AOL. These things, when they started happening in 2007, we didn't have social media the way we have today. So everything was changing as this was starting out. So there was no way to systematically put this out other than me taping it myself, but I was using a typewriter to type it all out, and that's what I did to help Josh and help keep the truth and keep it in line as it was happening. That's the magic of the diary, because it was before Google, it was before YouTube, it was before Facebook, it was as the start of MySpace. I think Google or Facebook started the year after, 2008, and so did YouTube, and so did all the other Amazon and all these other things. We got hit by the technology giants in 2007, 2008. That was the beginning of it. So my diary is in its time, the Facebook, YouTube version of what was going on in Joshua's life. That was me taking the best of technology at the time and just writing it. And that's how I went about trying to save Josh, is by when they didn't call back in 2007, when I called and made an official complaint about an officer of the law back in 2007 when they never answered the call and said, we're going to be here to help you find out what's going on with your son. We're going to help you find what happened with his concussions. We're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to get him the best treatment. We're going to get him the best care. We're going to investigate this. We're going to see that he does get the right care in school and at home, just like the wraparound services all have suggested. We're going to make sure this happens. We're behind you, Mr. Edel. We're going to make sure that this never happens again to this boy. We're going to stand behind him. We're going to make sure that he gets the help in school like he needed. And then this is going to be all the daycares that he's been kicked out of and all the things that happen in the home daycare and regular daycare and the school. We're not going to have any problem like this, Mr. Edel. We're going to help get your son the best help that we're at the County of Bucks. In 2007, those things never came out. They never said we're going to give you the best care. We never said we're going to get him help. We're going to get him tested for his ADHD and then his TBI. We're going to see a neurologist. We're going to make sure that we get him the help that you. Thank you, Mr. Edel, for bringing this to our attention in 2007 when you made the phone call to help your son. We really appreciate you coming forward, and we really understand that your last 4 years were very difficult. We see the police reports, we have the doctor's notes, we have all the problems that she has brought up to the doctors, all the problems in school, all the problems at camps, all these problems. We thank you for bringing this to our attention. We were really unaware that you were having so many problems, and all the doctors were having, and the schools were having problems, and his daycares were having problems. We appreciate you, Mr. Edel, bringing it to our attention in 2007 so we can get Joshua the best help that we could possibly give him in Pennsylvania. So we really appreciate you bringing this to our attention. We're going to see to it that Joshua gets the best care from here on out because we appreciate you bringing this to our attention. You making the phone. If you didn't make this phone call, Mr. Edel, Joshua probably would never have known how bad his TBI really would have been because this is what the neurologist came to us and told us after we helped get him the medical attention that you were asking for from us on that day. You know, no, none of that ever happened. Even with all the medical documents, I said, here, let's take a look at it. Nah, they said, nah. Bro, the whole county, the whole state of Pennsylvania said, nah, we ain't going to investigate this. Nah, we ain't going to give this another county. Nah, we're going to just put this under the rug. Whew. Whew. They said, nah. So Bucks County has said to my face, Marge McEwen said to me over the phone, you never made a phone call in 2007. I said, what? Marge McEwen, the head of Child Protective Services. This was about, 6 years ago, and I said to her, or no, longer than that? I forget. I got to look at my notes. Told me over the phone, Mr. Edel, you never called in 2007. What? You're calling me a liar now to my face? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, she's saying this out loud to my ears when I'm talking to her over the phone. And I believe I was in Atlanta. No, this was before Atlanta. This was before my arrest. This is why I got arrested, because I found out from her, because she told Bucks County I called, and I said that I never made a phone call. So I called Child Protective Services again. I called Harrisburg again and made another entry into the notes and saying that there was never a child abuse phone call, which is apparent. This is me telling the Commonwealth again that I'm being told there was no child abuse. There's a problem with the system. Will you please investigate now? And they don't do that again. And this is what, 18 or so? 2018? I forget exactly when Child Protective Services told me to my face that I never called, when I know I did. And Harrisburg has the record. But what Marge didn't know, that at the time when I'm talking to her, that when I called Child Protective Services in Harrisburg on the child line, that is done by Health and Human Services within Pennsylvania, and I say to that, and I tell Marge McEwen that I made this phone call to them, and she says, no, you did not. And I can say, I know what I gave Harrisburg. Harrisburg. So what she doesn't know that I had validated through before calling her, I had found out from the Childline themselves that the call gets routed from the Childline main number in Harrisburg to the regional to Bucks County Children and Youth. So when I'm having this conversation with Marge McEwen years back after the call, when she said I never called, I knew when I was talking to her that the call goes from Harrisburg to the regional center, to the local center, to Bucks County Children and Youth, to Marge McEwen. So she didn't know that that call record hit those 4 other places. And there's my case right there. That's my case. That's my case in a nutshell. The head of Child Protective Services tells me to my face years later that I never called, but I knew that from doing my homework, from Childline themselves, from the operator that called when I called to make another report. I was curious. I said, how do these calls get routed? And they volunteered the information. They said, well, it comes in the Childline where you're calling now. It gets recorded by us. We take down all of that data. We take down all of your information, your name, your social, your address, your birthday, your email address, where you work, who you work for. They took all that information down in 2007 from me, about Josh, about her. So all of that data. She's an officer of the law in 2007. That gets reported. That went to the Childline Center. That went to the main center. And then that record gets to the regional, and then gets split to another area, and then eventually gets to Bucks County. So when I have the head of CPS on the phone telling me that there was no call, I know that that call went to Harrisburg. They have a record. The regional, they have a record. The other one, they have a record. And then you had the record. So here I am being lied to over the phone by the head of Child Protective Services, Marge McEwen, at the time when I did call. I don't believe she is no longer the Child Protective Services, but this is all under Diane Marseglia, the county commissioner, and the judges of Bucks County, and all of leadership of Bucks County. She is the head honcho of the Child Protective Services in Bucks County for Pennsylvania, for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Marge McEwen is it. Buck stops with her. 2000, what year I called. But she could tell me over the phone years later, I never called, which means I know that there's 4 other records that have that. Harrisburg, the other one, and the other one. I know that these records exist within their systems. So unless Harrisburg decides to delete those other locations where my call was, when I originated, they called me a liar, they'd have to be deleted from all of those files. So if Harrisburg wants to get involved and go against Bucks County and say, Bucks County, you lied. You lied about it. We have it here, and the regional and the other one. If everybody comes out and say, Mr. Riddell, you never called, that means I gave my information to somebody else who pretended to be Childline Protective Services for Harrisburg at the time when I called in 2007. That means an imposter stepped in and took all of my data and information and took off with it, based on the call that I made to the 1-800 number that's in the county, in the Childline's name. And they identified themselves in the Pennsylvania Childline. They took all of my data. They told me I would be in contact. They told me the officer. They told me that this is the day that the call was made. I gave them all the pertinent details along with my social. Somebody pretended to be somebody who they're not within the Commonwealth, and that should be investigated. We need to find out who those calls several calls that I made in 2007, where they went, how they got taken. Then there's a fraud problem within the Commonwealth for the Childline. That means somebody else was able to type in the Childline in 2007. Nah, they can't delete information. No one got hacked just to get rid of that. Come on, man. What is this woman telling me? She's telling me a lie to my face, wants me to believe that I didn't take it, to make it sound like I'm crazy, when I know that 4 other places have all of them. So she got. And I'm listening to her say these things in my face. And I'm thinking to myself, how dumb do they think I really am? That I never did my due diligence, that I never found out where these calls are routed and how they get passed down. That there's records of them in their system. They think I didn't track that information down. Yeah, I'm that smart. When you're going to tell me a lie to my face, I already knew the answer to, and you're telling it to my face. That was amazing to see at what great lengths Bucks County was going through to cover up every single one of my calls. So I'm not the issue here. Bucks County chose to protect the abuser from all the calls. They chose to side with her instead of the boy. My son, at the time, in 2007, when I found out that my son almost died, he was 5 years old. We could have been making a difference since 2007, when my son was 5. He's now 24. They want to put me in jail, that's fine, they did. They wanted to find out more information about my mental health, they did. I got cleared by everybody from all the years about my mental health. So if this woman wants to leave a phone call and threaten me and tell me, that's fine, but I'm going to tell the truth. Not just about her, but about the county that covered her up. Because the truth matters to me. My son matters to me. When he was told I walked away from him, no, she took a baseball bat and a sledgehammer and an AK-47, and she took the whole power of the United States government behind her, as they have since 2007. And they took my son away from me. What are you going to do? They're the United States government. They know what's best, right? They step on people's necks all the time, right? They shoot innocent people all the time, right? They let innocent kids go get abused and almost die, and they think it's okay. They have simultaneously fell behind the officers in the past and lost. Just like my son. Just like everybody else who got shot, and he was an innocent victim who the county covered up to protect themselves, to protect the people, to protect an officer, and they've been doing it since 2007. And I can prove it. I've got the notes. I did my homework. I kept the log. I kept a very detailed, specific journal. They know this. They got a copy of it from one of the newspapers. Reporters who were trying to dig on information from me, and I gave them access to it. They have it all. They know. They know. Joe Kavanaugh, court newspaper reporter, joke, goes to a friendly protest. Joe Kavanaugh works for Bucks County Courier-Times and the Bucks County Herald, or the Burlington Times, or that conglomerate within Bucks County. So she does work as a freelance. She was covering a story about a person from Bucks County who reached out to me. I was approached by an outsider pretending to be wanting to protest against Bucks County and the unfit use of other tactics that the court system like Rubenstein has used in the past. Saw my X, used to be Twitter, comments, what's next, and sought me out, asked me if I wanted to join their crusade for the rights of families in Bucks County, specifically Judge Rubenstein, in which case I was asked to go to a peaceful protest, and I did, which in the same day I met Joe Kavanaugh, we spoke for a long time. She's a court reporter, and I told her some about my story and how the Judge Rubenstein and whatnot were, hold on, let me pause this for a second so I get pulled in to go to this peaceful march or peaceful protest in front of the Bucks County courthouse. This was before my legal troubles. This was between my first arrest and losing my son from Judge Rubenstein. But a woman asked me if I wanted to be a part of this protest, and wanted to ask me questions about how I lost my son and what happened, and wanted to ask me questions about my post that she'd accidentally came across I forget the name, but I can pull it up on my Facebook. So I was approached by them about Rubenstein in Bucks County. I was approached by a stranger, a complete stranger, based on Twitter, on my Twitter, according to her. Her name escapes me because it's been so many years, but it might come. I have the notes, so. But I ended up going to Bucks. They talked me into going and trying to talk about family rights. And I joined a peaceful protest. And one day I drive up to Bucks County, the courthouse, the new courthouse, not the old one. When this all began, the old courthouse was here. This one was not being built or just started to be built. But I was at the new courthouse in Bucks County, in Doylestown. And they had pre-made signs. I didn't make my own sign. I picked out a sign that was pre-made, an option, one of many options that were given to me by the people who attended the protest. I'm not sure if there's pictures or a video about it online or not. Forget what year, but I'll have to circle back by that. But there's a picture of me, I think, in a newspaper, and I pick out the most friendly protest sign there, and that was "Keep Families Together." That was mine. They had other ones derogatory about Bucks County. They had other derogatory ones about Rubenstein. They had other derogatory ones about the situation about that brought this mother or grandmother involved that reached out to me for help. She said, "This is the same scenario that got me involved with Solis. I mean, with the court officer." So I'm being roped in, and I'm hearing it, and I'm going for yes. I understand what you're saying. So they approached me, but they asked me questions about it. I didn't approach them. They came to me. The court reporter came to me. I didn't go to her. This is how I knew how it came together. So I go to a peaceful protest, and I find the one that says "Keep Families Together," and it goes against all of the family value things that they were trying to hopefully portray, me holding. So there's proof of me holding this peaceful sign that says "Keep Families Together," and I believe there was an article. I believe Joe Kavanaugh, who was a newspaper pretend she did a news story. I believe there's a picture of me holding a sign that says "Keep Families Together." But when the whole format of the controversy behind Rubenstein tearing families apart, when Joe was interviewing me, which never made the newspaper, which is funny because I think I would have been I had inside dirt on it. So I thought I was a good person to talk to because I had so much influence for all the years about the disruption within my family because of the family court system within my life. So I thought I said, I kept track of this woman. I kept track of what was going on with the judges. I kept track of it. "Oh, really? How do you do that?" I have a file. "Oh, really? Yeah, it's a Google file now. It started out on a local hard drive on a laptop computer before Google was around. This document started, so I kept it on. I integrated it from my through the system throughout the years and backed it up onto Google and onto my clouds. And because like I said, it's very important to me. So I have all of her stuff is very easily for you to access." She goes, "Really? Okay, well, I'm going to give you my card and then you can email that to me. That'd be great." Okay. So I email it to her. Full access to my document. "Okay, Joe Kavanaugh, you're going to lose something about. You want some information for your story about you're doing a story about Bucks County and particularly Judge Rubenstein, and how he was on my case and how he overheard it in front of the officer, in front of the court officer that works directly for him. Okay, I can talk about the corruption. I can talk about how they're tearing the families apart. I can tell you the story about what they did about with my son, but for no reason, without proof, and taking him out of my life. Yeah, I can give you. Here's the evidence, Joe. This is what the newspaper reporter asked me for. So then I get an email from uh, her editor from Bucks County Courier Times. It's in my mailbox. Um, Ryan, his name was at the time. What year was this? Was this 13, 14, maybe? I forget what year. I get an email from Ryan or somebody from as her editor asked to look at the document too. I said, okay, wow, this is going to get some interest. They're going to start to they're going to start seeing what made this start with this court reporter. So they're getting hundreds and hundreds of pages access to it. Both Joe Kavanaugh and then the secretary, under another person, a woman from Bucks County, then asked me for access to the online Google Doc, and I let her access because I'm thinking, okay, they're going to do a story about this woman, or about Bucks County or about Endor. So here I'm thinking I'm giving them information to help a story out because of what the newspaper was covering, and the fact that I had hundreds of pages that I let Bucks County Courier Times via I I so what happened was nothing. They didn't do a story about Bucks County, included my information on it. They didn't run a story about the officer. They didn't run a story about Rubenstein. They took all of my data, downloaded it, and then now they have all this information. Well, what happened to it? I gave you enough for a story of a lifetime. And what happens? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Here's what I can only speculate. They took my information and they shared it with the judges. Other than gaining access by Bucks County Courier Times through Joe Kavanaugh and the conglomerate that owns Bucks County Courier Times and Burlington Times and all those times that are around there, they all gained access to all of that information. So, why no story? Well, they had 600 pages of information on this woman day to day about what she was doing and what she was saying to me and what she was doing to Josh and what was going on. I would only guess by the fact that they never ran a story. I had all this data that went with the story that they were working on, that they came to me about asking me for information that I have on them, and I give it to them and they do nothing. I'm assuming that information went to Bucks County and they all have access to what that information was too. So they had, I'm going to say that I'm bold enough to say that because they've never reached out on defense of Joshua at any point in time, the story was about Joshua and how the neglect happened and what she was doing. The opposite happened. They had all the information that I had on her. They handed it over to Bucks County, and now they have proof. They have their proof that they wanted, that she was who I said she was. So, in any fashion of the county, they're going to take that information and sit on it, and they're going to say, well, it's not me, it's her. It's not her, it's me. So they're going to turn the story around. So why else? How else did they take all that information, the editor, Joe, and the other person, and then not do anything with it? But they took it, they extracted it from me, from my work, and they did nothing with it. They didn't do a follow-up. They didn't do, hey, listen, this is really interesting. They didn't bother to say boo, other than, hey, can we have access? And I give it to them. but they take access. But not a question, not a hey, listen, this is interesting, or how did you, what happened? Nothing. They didn't interview me about anything about the details within that. No three of the people who asked for to gain access from Bucks County at that time, from me being um, at that peaceful protest about Bucks County and Judge Rubenstein specifically and the court systems. They didn't pull any data out of my information to use inside the story to help prove what's going on with this woman at that time. Damn! Did I just get that right? Holy crap. This is me freeballing. This is me not digging into any data. This is me just going from memory based on that, not looking at anything other than the sky, the birds, the tree that's dead, which I wish was gone. The sun's in my way. Oh, I can turn it around. There we go. That's better. I like the flags and the Eagles flag behind me. I'm a big diehard Birds fan because I'm tough. So let's play this out. As long as I got to this far. So now 3 people from Bucks County reporters have access. So let's just say, hey, we read this about your court reporter, your court officer. Is any of this true? Did they go back to Bucks and say any of that 600 pages, I'm guessing is around at the time 600 pages, because that's kind of been where it's at. I kind of left it in there and never manipulated it for this reason for years, just so that the history will be there, that I've never touched it. So it's kind of like a time capsule. Let's just say they went to Bucks and said, hey, what is this about this court reporter? He has all this information. He has a lot of proof. He has facts. He has dates. He has times. He has data. He has specifics. He has detailed notes about this, how this began. He elaborates on each story, each situation. He has done his due diligence about keeping accurate records about this court reporter. Is any of this true? Did she really try killing her kid? Now this is, what year is this again? I can't recall. But I'm pretty sure it's after after I got my rights taken away from him, stolen, manipulated, threatened, abused. And then they get information about me. So let's just say the reporters did their job and they went to the DA, or they went to a Judge Rubenstein, or they went to some higher up official. Maybe, I don't know, County Commissioner Diana Eglis Marsiglia? Did they go to the commissioner about her? Like I've been saying all this time, that corresponds with all of my phone calls to the Commonwealth about reporting an officer of the law who has abused it, who has lied about it, who works for them. So now they have more information about her from me. So let's just say that they even went there with detailed information about some of the information I have in the journal. Well, it says here that Mr. Edel said this about that Josh was going through this, but then it all came from the court reporter. So now they all know how crazy this woman is. So instead of stepping out of their comfort zone, they double down on the knowledge of what. That's what makes the story. It always keeps going. It's always like watching one lie pulled into one lie, into a bigger lie, into a bigger lie, into a big. That's how beautiful this story just flows. It's just like one after the other after the other. So now they gain knowledge, or they gain access. It's both. can't tell me that they weren't reporters and gone to Bucks County at some point and did their job and said, listen, this is all the data. Now, I'm surprised. I'm really taken back because what I don't understand is Joe gave me her card. And I love this because this has a lot to do with my relationship with Diane Marsiglia, County Commissioner of Bucks County. Joe Kavanaugh gives me her card and says, send me this information. Yeah, we'd like to hear about it. Yes, I email it to her. I email her some of the information. I write it to her, and I have copies of it too. So this is what beauty about technology on my side is. I email it to her, and she's welcoming the information, but then nothing ever happens with it. Just like my phone call from Bucks to Childline, my phone calls to the county, my phone calls to the police, my phone calls, just like her, they ghost me. Just like Diane, she ghosted me after she pretended she didn't know me for all these years. It's really offensive because when I emailed Joe and her editor about questions about anything, they never responded. Just like it was weird, like when Diane wanted to make our relationship official by putting in the court transcript that I posted about that began in 2007 after my phone call to the Pennsylvania Child Abuse Hotline. She denied ever knowing me, which is really hurtful because, she saw me and gave me her business card and said, here, I can help you with your son. And she made that promise. And I thought Joe was doing the same. Joe Kavanaugh from Bucks County, was news reporter, was going to do the same thing. And I thought that, Bucks County was going to do something about it. And I thought that the newspaper was going to help. And I thought posting it, thought that they were going to do something. I thought Child Services was going to do something. I thought that the police were going to do something. I thought that the doctors were going to do something. I thought that the pediatricians were going to do something. I thought the mom was going to do something. But apparently the only one who can get anything done around here is me. So I don't depend on everybody else for my thought process. Even though they said they're going to do something, then they don't do it. That's been kind of the norm with this situation. So, what they do, they don't do unto me. They do unto their God. So they can say whatever they want. That's fine. But in the end, it says it in the Bible, what's done in secret will be shouted from the rooftop. So, if the truth hurts, then so be it. But at least the truth is there. And it's up to Josh to figure that out. But what's great about this story is there's so much more to unpack from these different spots throughout this whole journey. And writing them down or journaling about it, writing about them, or then now videoing them. I mean, times have changed since this whole thing began. I mean, the world has changed tremendously. I mean, Ed Rendell was the governor back when this first started. Now it's Josh Shapiro. But the cover-up happened under Ed Rendell's administration. Josh Shapiro shouldn't be in trouble for this child abuse cover-up by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. This is under Ed Rendell's administration. I mean, Diane Marsiglia is still in office like she was when this first began. How is she still in office when she put her name to the child abuse cover-up, walking into my Perkins and introducing herself and giving me her business card and acting like she was the godfather of the land of Bucks County, and acting like she, it was a scene out of Devil Wears Prada where she's like she's it, and she's not. But then pretending she doesn't even know me after all of our emails was really hurtful. I mean, not really, because, one lie covers up another lie. So if they were all to come out in the open and say, yeah, we made a mistake. We thought we were helping her, but they've never once, not even the mom ever said, not even the officers ever said, I'm sorry. I've never heard an apology from her or Bucks County, which is normal because the systems not do it on their own. They need an uprising in order to hear an apology. They need to have people understand that Josh was left alone by himself, and she panicked, and she didn't even do the right thing, the right kind of panic. She panicked when he hit the floor and he's laying on the ground unconscious. Picture the boy there on the ground. Picture a 25-pound infant, 16 months old, about 21 inches long, laying on the ground unconscious for God knows how long. Picture that boy and saying, you know what, we want to help him. I want to help him. When I found out, I wanted to help him. But picture a county standing behind the mom saying, no, we're not going to help him. Picture the county and saying that you never did anything to help him. To tell me to my face that I did nothing. You have all of my calls and all of my reports, the whole thing. Just use the power of the government to tell me how wrong I am. Use the powers that you have access to. Get Harrisburg on the line and say, Harrisburg, did Mr. Riddell ever make this phone call in 2007? Then let Harrisburg say no. Then you can tell Harrisburg that there's somebody impersonating Harrisburg that's doing it, so there you go. Whichever way you want to use your powers, go ahead. Bucks County, say it. You stood behind the child abuser. She tried killing her son. The only way you're going to do it is by some kind of uprising, by some mysterious reaction that somehow the people of the world will find out that you left. You're just as responsible for that child being on that ground that day, Bucks County, as that mother is that day. You both share that responsibility. You're no different from the Trayvon Martins. You're no different from the other people the people with the police on their head on their neck. You stopped his progress from happening. You're just as guilty. These things happen out in the public, and they happen privately. And this is that moment. This is that testimony. The facts speak for themselves. I have them all. They're all ready to go. They're all ready to be put down. This is not an injustice just for Josh, but this is injustice for America. We're better than this, and there's solutions to that. And I know it, and I've written about it, and I've said it, all because I love my son. I have grown as an American and more of appreciation for my society and for what the Founding Fathers had said about it, and my biblical backgrounds with the Founding Fathers, how this country was established. And I know that the freedoms that Josh has was never, his civil rights were his medical rights, his civil rights, his parental rights were all taken that one fateful day. It's been a secret for so long. And there's freedom from talking it into existence because they all have said no. I'm saying I'm the only one in this world. I'm it. And if nobody else stands up behind me, that's okay. But I've done my job. I went about this the right way. I did this the appropriate way. I followed the rules. I did what I was supposed to do. And I got it all in writing. And I'm proud of it. And I'm proud that my son survived it. And getting an MRI and CAT scan of that brain to see where the traumatic brain injury happened can get him help. He can know about the crime scene. He can know about the carnage. He can live a good life. And that's what the goal is of this. When all else fails, I'm not going to stop for my son. I don't know what parent would. I can't believe that nobody, as much as I've talked about this throughout the years, that nobody knows that fateful day, that he was this close to death and he did nothing. Let's talk about that. Let that be the focus. Talk about what we could have done better. Let's make this world a better place. Let's stand up and give Josh he needs to know his status. He needs to know his peace. He needs to know that somebody's behind him. Somebody's with him. I feel like I'm the only one in his life, and it's been, 12, 13, 14 years? been that long, and he's had nobody behind him like he had for the first 10 years of his life. He's had no one for that long emotionally. No one knows his struggles like me. No one knows his pains like me. No one knows what he suffered physically, mentally, spiritually, physically, parentally. I just want what's best for my boy. And I don't appreciate the government getting involved and sticking their nose into places where they don't belong. I didn't ask for it. I asked for their help. I didn't ask for them to cover it up. Their job is to investigate. They didn't do the investigation. My job is to report. I did that. They didn't want to do it. That's not my fault. I didn't cause it. I didn't make it happen. I didn't start the fire. They did. They came to me. She came to me. She came to me first. I went to them because I needed help. And I told them that in 2003. I told them in 2007. I told them that in September, or was that day? October 3rd, 2003. I needed help. This woman needs help. I have the police reports that prove it. I have the journals. I have the diary. I have the information. I'm not here to lie. I'm just here to tell the truth. I'm just here to help my son have a better life. And by God, until my death, until he gets the help he needs, I'm not going to stop. Because I love him. And he loves me. And God loves us. And we should live better. I want America to be better. I want our society to be better. We should be better. Their challenge is this. Allow the information that I have learned throughout the past 19 years. Let me give that to the world. Let me show what work I've done to try and help better throughout this whole entire situation. They thought they were going to get away with it. They were wrong. Bucks County was wrong. She was wrong in the beginning trying with me. She shouldn't have played with me. She shouldn't have played. You don't play with it. You don't play it. I knew I was groomed for this. I knew this when it started happening. I knew what was going on. I knew a game was being played. I just didn't know how dangerous and close to death she was going to play this. And she did. She called my son a business. My son, who laid on the floor the next month, close to death, the month before she called my son a business. My boy is a business. This venture is a business. I should treat it like a business. That's what she told me to my face inside of her establishment that she works for as a court reporter and an officer. She called my son a business. Well, guess what? You got no business until you come around and make it right. My son is not a business. He's a life. He's a life worth living. He's a life worth being successful for. He was a life worth fighting to do your best for, to let him accomplish great things. Like I've accomplished great things, he should be on his way to far more. But what is he doing? What is he doing? What has he done? Where's all these promises that you're going to give him a better life? Well, Bucks County didn't help at all. It was their job to help me. It's her job to do it right. She didn't want to do it. She didn't do it. She never did it. She didn't want to do it. She just wanted me. That's okay. I get over that. Until she comes after me like she said she would. But you never give him a better life. Take him away from me, but give me a better life. That's what my mom did. My mom took me away from my dad, but she gave me a better life. That's what I love about this story. About my roots. My roots came from this to that. If not this, then that. ITTFT. If not this, then that. She took us out and gave me a list so long. of the things that we've experienced together is amazing. My mom taught me how to ski. I learned how to waterboard. I'm not going to go through the list right now. But if not this and that, I learned early on in my early childhood that if you make one mistake, it doesn't define who you are. But my mom took us away from our dad, and then she gave us a better life. I've done so many things, so much accomplishments, so many goals, so many awards, so many. Look them up on my page. They're there. I've done it. I've done so much. I'm so satisfied for. Even going through this, I'm satisfied. I'm happy. I'm content. I've done it. It's just now, it's time to come to grips with my son's issue. But my mom took me out to give me a better life, and she damn well did. Despite it, she fought tooth and nail to see us, me and my sister, live a better life. And guess what? She fought tooth and nail to make sure of it, and she gave it to us. We had a beautiful childhood. We experienced so many things as kids. And I have as an adult that goes beyond. I mean, the list is so long. I should, at some point, I'd like to detail it, but take my word for it. It is a long, detailed list of great things that I've been able to accomplish and do throughout my whole entire life. It's just amazing. And I love that. And then I look at my son, I say, well, I'm trying to do everything I can to see him, to all this energy this beautiful energy that I have about learning and growing and doing, experiencing and loving. And that's why I want to take him across country and go get a motorhome and take him across country and go experience life with him while I'm still alive. My goal is to get a motorhome and see him go through this country and learn on his own and experience some of it with me. I would love nothing more to get in a motorhome with him once he's treated, and to see this country and to talk about our experiences and talk about our life and talk about with him, because these are some good things have happened because of what happened with him. That's what I see. My vision is being in a motorhome, going from town to town and city to city, and seeing this beautiful country I love. God bless America. To do. I would love nothing more to take that energy and let him see how beautiful this country really is, to turn the tables, to turn something negative into something so positive, that we could talk about our experiences together and going to help teach other people how to learn about FDIA and how to love each other and how to be so patient and loving and long-suffering and caring and loving and giving and experience more, to see that in his face. I'd love to be able to experience that. Nothing would make me more happier in my life than to go cross country with my son and see the United States, even going to Canada, Mexico, Alaska, and just going on a field trip, man. I would love nothing more, even if it's two, even if he doesn't want to be in the same room with me. Okay, we go in 2 separate weeks, but let's go see it. I don't care. I'd love to be able to see it with him. I could talk about this to other people because I still don't understand it, and I went through it. I don't understand one thing that's happened to me. I can tell you about it. Don't understand it. But I'll talk about it. That's for sure. That's my country. It's my kid. This is my world. This is my United States. It's all of ours. We just got to learn how to fight our battles. This has been mine. Yeah, I've gone to that alone, most of it. But there's been a lot of support along the way. There has been a lot of support from a lot of people in a lot of different circumstances throughout. And a lot of this doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and it doesn't to them either. And it probably won't today to you. But there's a lot to say. There's a lot to be said. If it can happen to Josh, he can't be the only one. This can't be the only one that's happened to. He can't be the only one in the world that's gone through this kind of horrifying, traumatic, hiding event, the secrets event, the lies event, the medical abuse event. It can't be the only one. He's not. On behalf of Josh, I'm telling you, FDIA is a real thing. It's complicated. It's confusing. The only reason why I'm here today is because the county that should have had investigated all of my actual facts never did. So that's why I'm sitting here today saying them. Because just because they don't validate it doesn't mean it didn't true. It's not true. I don't need their validation whatsoever. I've got my truth, and I've got the truth, and I have writing to support and back everything else up that I've said. So if it's up to me, I'd rather go out there and do some good. I'd rather get in a motorhome, go cross country, tell people that just being honest is just so much easier, and then moving on and just living your best life. And I don't think that, I think 24 years or 23 years of lies should come to an end. And for Josh, his truth should start today, or at least should restart today after his 10 years with me and 24 years of lies with her. The emotional damage alone, he needs an RV trip. I need an RV trip or motorhome trip. We need to get away from all of this. We need to decompress. I need to decompress. He needs to decompress. He needs to learn the truth. And I'd love to just get to know him again just by going cross country. So if we had the money for that, I mean, go fund me. Like that'd be great. Spend this time while I'm still healthy, while I'm still here, and just be there with him. If he wants to talk about the parish, that's fine. I don't need to talk about it with him. If he wants to talk about it, that's fine. I don't need to, other than him getting a medical exam, and that's all I care about. If he never wants to talk about it again, that's good with me. I'm totally fine. But if he wants to talk about it separately, he has a lot to talk about. And this book is his proof. This is his truth. The journal is his truth. It scared the crap out of Bucks County when they found out that they knew that I had her. They scared the crap out of them. I said it from the beginning. They were scared of that. They're afraid. They're in fear. They're so much fear that they're making stupid mistakes. They're doing the wrong thing. They're making cops say things that aren't true, and they're making DAs say stuff that's not true, and they're making all these mistakes, and they're sloppy, and I just got them just pinned, and they just can't go anywhere. But they're not going to go anywhere until somebody, until there's an outcry. That's how these police respond. It's the only way police respond is if there's an outcry. Well, I'm crying out. My son, attempted murder, cover-up, officer, county, big. What else you want? I said it. They tried to bury me. I survived. I've got the facts in my corner. I'm willing to go to the Supreme Court to argue this, and I will take all of the documents with me to make that happen. Because not one other child should ever suffer the way my son has suffered for so long, for reasons beyond normal comprehension. When you call CPS, their job is to investigate your child. This one didn't do it. I didn't make that happen. This was their choice. They made that choice. They own this. They bought the cow. They own the farm. They get the milk. They know what she is. They're never going to investigate. They're the highest authority to do so. So, don't investigate. Let my son live this lie. Let nothing happen to him. Let him live his best life. But you live your best life. You be kind. You be loving. This isn't about anger. This is about love. This is about my heart's love for my son. This is my passion for him. This is my desires for him. This is my being that wants his life to be full and whole, and he's not whole. And he's not whole by the Americans that had done this to him, that went against his civil rights. They chose to disregard his civil rights, not me. I didn't. I chose to give him his rights to medical treatment, to not a hostile living environment, to the no bullying, to no harassment, to just this nonsense. If there was nothing to hide, a call to 911 would have happened that day. So there was time one. Time 2 was 2007. Bucks County's been on the clock since then. They need to get it right. But they won't do it on their own. Someone's going to speak out. Someone's going to say it's wrong. Somebody's going to say, stick up for Josh. Josh's life matters. Josh's life matters. Josh's life matters. Josh matters. Josh's matters. Josh's life matters. In all the games that have been played, Josh's life matters. It matters to me. It matters to me. If it doesn't matter to anybody else, that's okay. I don't need their help. I am whole. I am good. It's my son I'm speaking out for. I am good. My son, not so good. But Josh's lives matter. All lives matter. Black lives matter. White lives matter. Everybody matters. Right? Isn't that what we live in? Aren't we woke now? Aren't we? No one's listening? Is anybody there? Hello? My son, he was laying on the floor almost dead, and the officer tried to cover it up and lie about it, and then she worked for the government, and then they covered it up, and they didn't want to talk about it. But anybody else want to come investigate this? Please. I will show this to the right authorities. I thought I did. I thought Bucks County was going to do something about it. I thought the Courier-Times was going to do something about it. No. I thought Bucks County was going to do... No. The county, the government, they said no all along. I hope someone says yes. Love to see somebody say yes. One person stay out there and say, you know what? It's time that we make this happen. I gave them a choice. They could do it the easy way or the hard way. They chose to do it the hard way. I gave them a choice. You want to do this the easy way? You can do it the easy way. Okay, I'm on board for the easy way. But they chose the hard way. They were given two choices: do the right thing, or do the wrong thing. I didn't make that choice. They made that choice. They came at me. She came at me. They made the wrong choices. I'm not perfect, but it didn't matter because leading up to everything, he was never going to win. They made the card stack against my son. That's rude. That's mean. That's horrible. We're better than that. I thought we were. Why would you intentionally try to not help my son by helping me pick up the pieces with that? They chose her. Well, I choose him. So if you want to stand with me, choose him. Choose him, but Josh's life matters. Every human life matters. Human life matters. My son has been so dehumanized throughout this whole entire process that it's very upsetting, and it kind of hurts my heart, because the human side of this is what I've been trying to focus on his humanness, try to make him human, try to point him in the right spot, telling everybody where he was when this happened, how this was out of his hands, and he's only 16 months old, and he can't say my head hurts, I can't say my back hurts, he can't say my belly hurts, he can't say I'm dizzy, I can't say I'm blurry, he can't speak. So I've been trying to speak for Josh for 19 years. And it's really frustrating trying to speak for a child who needed to be spoken for at that time, but being told by the county whose job it is to have answered that call to hear no. I'm not angry. I love my county, and I love my son, and I have respectfully fought this battle ever since. I have not fight anymore. I have nothing else to say. I've said enough. I've written about enough. And it's over. Bucks County, you're guilty of the same thing this woman did to my son. Whatever she did, you did too. You both are in it together. You owned her, you chose her, you live with her. These are the truths. You had no right to cover up on my son. You had no right to cover up the call. You should have investigated. You should have called somebody else. You should have called another county. This is on you. You own this. You bought this. This is yours. You, everything about this, you get the county of Bucks in Pennsylvania. This is yours. You own this. I hope you're proud. Call yourselves Americans. Call yourself patriotic. Call yourselves Americans. But I don't think that people understand the kind of county work that you have done in this case. And I don't think it's put you in very good light, but I've tried very nicely throughout all the years to give you every opportunity to come out, and you have said no systematically for 19 years. You're welcome. If the truth hurts, so be it. Do I want a peaceful resolution? I've been begging for that for many years. I will not change that. I do not have a violent tendency in me. I do not want violence out of it. I am not that angry to go at an angry mob. I will never talk to an angry mob. I will talk peace, because that is my message throughout since 2007 has been peace. I'm not a violent person. I'm not an angry person. Don't think violence solves it. I've been trying to use my words for many years. If it fell on deaf ears, that's not my fault. I have not changed. I'm still the same way. And I love America, and I love my country, and I love my son. God, family, country, that's my core values. That's what I believe in. That's what I pledged allegiance to all growing up, and that's what I took an oath in the Cub Scouts when I was a child. So whatever happens, let America know, let the world know that Josh Life matters. The government don't want to step in, don't step in. Even when asked, that's fine. But America, the world, Bucks County thinks you want to keep this quiet, you were going to keep this silent. Sorry. This is on you. You own this. Get my son a test. Find out the crime scene, how bad it is, and let's get him help. Do your job.